things to share, talk about, and hopefully our wisdom and our craziness, Cheryl, will help you the rest of your week. And yes, I am keeping that intro.
She does these drive-by intros,
these days,
people.
Yeah, are about inspiring you to make good choices for yourself, to encourage you to do your part in making the world a better, more loving, and hilarious place to be, as you are when you hang out with us here at Your Love. That's how we roll, Krista. I mean, this. Did you just go?
Yeah, I'm the bird. Come. She said energy. It's a whole thing.
Amazing. And to help with the craziness and fun is our special friend and guest, Krista Jefferson. She's the founder of Just One, an organization offering African handcrafted one-of-a-kind fashion pieces.
Ben and White.
There we go. Made by child soldiers and those with HIV/AIDS. And we're wearing, obviously, the pieces now. They're gorgeous. And if you haven't bought one already, please go online and do that at the Just One button on our site. We also have my amazing, fun co-host. You just gave me the eye.
Yeah.
Joanna and Cheryl.
You made me make bird sounds.
Yeah, Joanna and Cheryl are with us and are going to have lots of great things to say. I'm setting you up to be great today. So, can you tell us, like, the middle of the week? It's like hump day, Wednesday, here we go.
Yeah.
And Krista, you've kind of like just parachuted right into the craziness. Yeah. We're going to go from a completely different topic, but tied from, being an entrepreneur and, founding Just One to international adoption, because in all of this, you're in the process of a pretty incredible story and journey. And obviously international adoption is close to my heart because I am adopted by a Canadian family as well. So always that really connects. You are married to Mark and you have 2 biological daughters, right? Yep. And their names are?
Madison and Eden.
Okay, so all the family adopted Abby from Haiti this past summer.
That's right.
Amazing. And I'm going to just put up a picture right now. There she is. She's so adorable. Let's talk about this, because I know, with international adoption, when I was adopted way back, it was actually a little taboo. Our family had a lot of pushback from their Canadian families. They didn't like the idea of bringing someone of color into the family. And so, there's a lot of my storyline that's been impacted, but I am so grateful and thankful that my parents adopted me. And then it kind of got on sort of the Hollywood circuit when, like, Brangelina started adopting internationally, and it became sort of more accepted.
Yes.
Right? There was
became a
culturally,
trend,
it became more of a
really.
trend and accepted. But I just, am excited that you have brought Abby home, and your story is pretty incredible. So talk to us about how that all started. It doesn't, it's not just like overnight. You're like, okay, we're going to adopt internationally, right? So how did it all begin?
Yeah. Well, Mark and I both come from families with adoption. Both of us have siblings who were adopted.
Oh, wow.
Mark has 5 siblings who were adopted, and myself have 2. And it was something we were very familiar with. I know a lot of people, adoption's kind of a new concept for them. And when we were dating back 20-some years ago, we always talked about someday we felt like this is what we were called to do, is to adopt. And in high school, it started for me, watching videos about China and the one-child policy and reading biographies of people. And I felt like loving a child is something, is a gift God's given me. And I always felt like this was something I could offer. And so, just like most things in my life, it took several years later. Mark and I just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary last year.
Amazing.
And we just brought Abby home this summer. And so you can see that different times in our lives, we were like, I think, God's telling us to start now. I think this is the time. This would be convenient for us. And we would start the process, and then something would come up, a roadblock. And so we'd put it on hold, and we'd put it on hold. Then when we did start, it took over 6 years from the time we started to the time she came home. And we had been told it was a 2-year process. And we kept saying, 2 years from what point? We kept asking them.
Right.
And but now when she came home, we're like, it was perfect timing.
So why Haiti?
Yeah, well, when we first started looking into things, we were like Ethiopia, different countries, and then visited Haiti, and seeing that this was a neighboring country in need, that they're so close. When we're in Africa, it feels like, a longer journey. Haiti is just a couple hours away. And so to see a neighbor in need, you feel like you need to step up. But also, we knew that whatever country we adopted from, it would be a lifelong relationship. That we would be going back and investing in that country, having relationships back and forth. And so we wanted somewhere that we could visit ongoing. And so Haiti came up, and we visited, and we were like, this is where we need to be. And so, yeah.
Wow.
Wow. You know, it takes a lot of courage. You know, when I talk to my parents, you know, there's a lot of things. I mean, it is that moment where, you know, one day when Abby and I can talk and we get emotional about, you know, just the incredible gift it is. Like, there are moments where here I'm in Canada and I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, and it took my parents very clear decisions and obedience to God to come and adopt me. Like, there's so many things, and yet they obediently did it. And because of that, I'm here today. And so I am so big on the decisions you make will impact and make you know, ripples for eternity. And so I hold it very, like, there are moments where I'm worshiping in my car and I cry because I'm like, those decisions by people have made my life the way it is today. And so you start thinking that and you're like, whoa. That's big. You know, right? Like, that is, it's a really, you know, big decision on that part. And then also the part of my birth mom going through with the, you know, the pregnancy and then having me was another big decision that impacted my life as well. So it's always on both ends.
Amazing.
Right? So there's that part, and then the whole God part. I mean, there's so many different parts. And then God loving the orphan, right? Of course. But, you know, that part as well. You know.
Yeah, so then what was your connection to this girl? Like, how did you meet her?
Yeah, we don't get, so the way Haiti works is you don't get to choose your child.
Oh, okay, it wasn't that you met her on a trip or something.
And we kept it wide open. We knew that we were called to adopt. We felt like we didn't want to shop for a child. We wanted to leave it wide open to whoever God wanted us to have. And we felt like, just like when we had our biological children, we couldn't choose, you know, oh, we want a girl, or we want, and so we left it wide open. We said 0 to 5. It could be boy or girl, it could be siblings, could be individual. We were like, we're here, you know, and just kind of whoever you feel fits our family. And so the way Haiti works is they match you with a child, and so they send us a referral, a proposal. And so we received that a year before she came home. And we went and spent 2 weeks with her, a bonding trip that you need to do. And then the worst moment of my life is when you have to leave, knowing you don't know when we're coming back.
Right.
And she was 2.5 at the time, knowing she doesn't understand, you know, that Mama and Papa are now leaving, and you're trying to explain, you know, it's not because we want to. And then we came home and just had to keep on waiting. And but as soon as we met her, we were like, "Oh, she's a Jefferson. She's such a Jefferson." And
I love it.
and to see, you know, it could have been anyone, but we're so thankful it's her, you know, and she's just such a natural fit into our family. And I always remember my mom saying with my siblings, they asked, you know, like, were I always a Hall, like my maiden name? And my mom would say, you know, we didn't know you were always a Hall, but God did. And I feel like that with Abby is that we didn't always know she was a Jefferson, but God knew.
I got a whammy for you. It's you know, it's a sensitive question, but I feel like so important. I'm sure Melinda I'd love to hear her chime in on this. When just being a person of African descent and just hearing Melinda talk about that I struggle with adopting a person of color and all of that transitioning. There's sometimes that struggle of cultural identity, racial identity, and even the responsibility of adoptive parents sort of preserving that. Can you speak to any of that? The importance of that, maybe of other people that are adopting it, of trying to kind of like raise them, as you said, as a Jefferson, but just keeping their culture. Like,
no, I love that question.
It's a dance, isn't it?
Because I've learned so much from when we started to now that I had no idea about.
Right.
And so that's something we feel really strongly about now, is keeping Abby's heritage, keeping her story. And even things as simple as her hair. As soon as people found out, oh, you adopted.
Talk after. It's a big thing. Major, people. Major.
That is people's number
Yeah.
one question
Yeah.
is, like, oh, are you going to do her hair? I'm like, she's my daughter.
Yeah.
Of course I'm going to learn how to do her hair. But we've also learned about having mirrors in her life. So we need to have other people who look like her,
Very awesome. Wow.
in our life, around our table, in our community, in our church. So some of that means changes for us. We live in a rural town, very white. And so we're looking, as we're choosing schools, okay, which school has the most diversity?
So that's always in your head.
Always in our
those-
head, and we take her into the city more when we're looking at, in the future, gymnastics or dance. We're like, we'll probably take her into Hamilton, into a larger city where there's a little bit more diversity. And so we're learning as we go. We don't ever want to say, oh, we don't see color. We do see color. And we want to embrace it.
Good.
Oh,
We want
very
to
good.
fully embrace that she is a person of color, and we love that. And learning to do her hair, I never want to grumble that I have to do her hair. I watched a video once where the mom was like, this is an honor. And this is time, because it takes time.
It's bonding.
That I can be building into her. I can be telling her how beautiful she is and how God made her and how, and so I'm learning to love that time as I fumble along.
No, I love it. And will you take Abby home like Katie sometimes too?
And we can't wait to do that.
Oh, nice.
We can't wait for the day. And our older 2 biological daughters did come with us so that they could see where she was from and understand a bit where she was raised. And
Help us and our viewers, because this show we could do for 5 hours, and when I've spoken at international adoption, gatherings, there's so many questions like, was that adoption or was that teen angst? And I'm like, both. Or just teen angst, or and I'm so grateful for my parents because they are very intentional. I mean, growing up as a missionary family, we were surrounded by the world, so I never thought I was different. The one time I thought I was different was when I came to Canada, and people were like. And I was like, you're different. Wait, you haven't even seen the world? All you like is McDonald's? Wait a second, where's the pho? Where's the real time? Like, I actually had this real sense, like, you're different. Like, this is my normal, and this is what I've experienced growing up. And maybe I did have a very healthy self-esteem growing up. Thank you, Mom and Dad.
Very healthy.
Very healthy.
Yes.
But I liked what you're saying is that what you're saying with my parents, very intentional, about the world, about my identity, where I'm Canadian, but I'm Filipino, and my birth mother Dory was is Filipino, and she lives in the southern Philippines, and so that's why in my story, I went to find my birth mother and back, and went back. But I think that's really important to encourage parents about the intentionality. On that, though, I think it'd be great to hear you coach us on things that people need to be sensitive about. As far as adopting, someone, from Haiti or from wherever else, because I bet you're getting a lot of interesting comments, and you have a lot to say about that.
Even just in the little bit of time, I find one of the most common questions we get, and it's often from people we know the least, a neighbor, somebody in a grocery store, is, so what's her story? Was she abandoned? Is she a true orphan? Is she? And our answer is always, that's Abby's story. That's not our story to tell. And so she came with 2 things to Canada, was her name and her history. And so we really want to preserve both of those. So that's one thing, is and I find it interesting that growing up, Mark and I both with siblings who are adopted domestically, they were never asked that. So I find it interesting that just because she may look a little different, people feel like her story should be an open book. But when she's older, if she wants to share that, she can. And just wording, things like own children. Well, I have 3 of my own children, I don't have, or people will say, your girls and Abby. You can drop the and Abby. It's my girls. They're all my girls. And so it's just learning terminology, biological children, things like that. And sometimes people, and I've learned, sometimes people don't mean hurt, it's just not knowing the wording. And so sometimes it's educating, and as Abby grows older, she'll be hearing these things.
That's so good. I'm glad you shared that.
And so and even things like somebody was adopted or is adopted. I don't know and so the whole, is adopted, it makes it an adjective. Was adopted makes it something that happened. And so we try to use that wording instead. Abby was adopted. and not to make it her whole identity.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, there's something really biblical and about God in, I believe, adoption. All the scriptures that we ourselves are adopted, that, you know, orphaned and orphans brought into relationship and family. Like he uses adoption as he uses family all throughout the scripture.
Yes.
It's his heart, right? I mean, Joanna, you can attest to that. I mean, when you're preaching and you know, you're sharing about Jesus and the character of God, there's so much about that.
Yeah.
Right? Family, new family and adoption.
Yeah. I mean, it so deeply connects to so many people. Like, I don't know if you notice, like, the energy level when a congregation is singing a song, when you get to those lines about he is my dad, like he's like our father, he adopts us, like the orphan has a home.
Yeah.
It's I was not adopted. And yet there's a power to it even for me that is a different type of, it's the language that so deeply resonates.
Yes.
It's I think it's about grace, right? Like this, like this, like we did nothing other than just show up and we receive this adoption. And it's powerful and it's a beautiful picture. I always think that there's a lot of adoption in my extended family. And I think it's just the most beautiful picture of what God does. It's such an illustration, a parable to the whole world of like, this is what love is.
Yeah.
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 This is amazing.
It is. It really is. And you know, Joanna, you were saying that when I hear the songs of like, you know, an orphan, you know, at church or in a worship, see, I bawl.
Me too.
There is something in it. It's like, I am, you know, but I also understand that in that relationship with God, He brought me. And I think that what a gift you've given Abby, but what a gift Abby is to you.
Absolutely.
Because I believe I'm a gift to my family. Again, back to that healthy self-esteem.
Healthy self-esteem, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, I mean, I say that it's like, you know, when I was having a fight with my brother and sister, and I was really mad at them, and I was really little, and then I said, well, Mom and Dad had to have you, but they chose me. So the argument is over. Like my parents still remember. I'm like this little, and I'm looking at them, and they chose me. They had to have you. They had no choice, but they chose me. Like that's how I was. But that was very healthy. But because I think really got that theology, that understanding that I am chosen. Wow.
Yeah. Back to that intentional.
Absolutely. You know, I think there is that connection. So what a beautiful picture for you and Mark and your family to do.
I think, and I've learned so much just about my own spiritual life through it all. Growing up, Mom and Dad were always very, you know, you are as much our child as your sister and brother. It doesn't matter how you came into the family, like treating everyone equal.
Love it.
So to see that in my relationship with God, is that I am loved just like a son or daughter. It doesn't matter that, you know, like how I came to Him and just how loved and adored I am and by Him. And that's been really powerful. And seeing it all over again with Abby, learning it firsthand as a parent that I adore her as much as I adore the two that came out of me, you know, like, and it's been really beautiful to watch.
Krista, thank you so much.
yeah.
You know, I mean,
Thank
we could,
you.
I know we're going to continue the conversation, you know, online. It'd be great for you to, you know, share some more of your thoughts and encourage those who are thinking of adopting, those who are adopted, and those who aren't, but this understanding of, you know, God adopting us into His family. It's such a beautiful theme.
Yes.
So I'm so glad that you were here with us and continuing our week of Krista Bridge Jefferson.
Yes.
So thanks to you viewers for joining us. There's lots of information on our website at seehearlove.com. And if you have any questions, you know, hello at See Hear Love as well. We'd love to pray for you, answer the best that we can. And if you also, again, want to buy these beautiful necklaces and jewelry, go to the Just One button. And I know Krista Bridge Jefferson would love that. Thanks for being with us on this Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you on Friday. Bye-bye.